Any fight video and/or photography used in this podcast has been used with the permission of the necessary entity or individual involved. Additionally, the opinions expressed in this program are those of the individuals involved and may not reflect those of Title Boxing. With all the best stories in MMA and boxing, this is The Punch with Dane McGuire, presented by Title Boxing Club, Rock Hill.
Man, that was quick. Not just a win, pure dominance. Buries him with a left.
Hey everybody, what's going on? My name is Dane McGuire of Title Boxing Club Rock Hill and also the International Mixed Martial Arts Federation. Back with another edition of The Punch this week, this time with another trainer spotlight. One of our most compelling stories yet, I think, and I really hope you all enjoy it. Combat sports has a history of being passed down from generation to generation. That's the case with one of our personal trainers, Wayne Johnson, nephew of gentleman Don Johnson, a boxer who amassed a 54-30-3 record from 1959 until 1972. The street-fighting Wayne followed in his footsteps beginning at the age of 12.
My uncle was always traveling, and basically he was a street fighter, I was, but he fought England, Italy, I think at least about 28 different countries. First seen him, I think I was about 3 years old. Maybe he came in with his entourage. I knew of him, but that was the first time I remember seeing him. So I knew he was my uncle and I knew he boxed, but he was never in St. Louis. So as you get up older, you grow, and then you get the understanding of who he was or whatever. And I learned the history. But I didn't really get the relationship until after I was 25. I come out the Army. As a matter of fact, he'd been out the country probably 30 years. And as soon as everybody in the family came home, I left and went to the Army. We met when I got back. They had opened up, him and Sergeant Anderson, William Anderson, had opened a gym at, I called Ringside. On Delmar, I think that was Hamilton. And so I would train up there for a while after I got out, and eventually I ended up going to New York. And I was a smaller guy. In the Army, I fought a lot of Mexican and Puerto Rican, so I knew where my place was to be. And ended up going to New York. I had a car crash, got a settlement, and I was getting older, like I said, smaller fighter, mature a little faster, and I knew I had to hurry up and get this thing started, because like I said, I was 25 when I got on. But I feel like I had a pretty good diet. I knew I could survive in age because of what I knew. And I also looked at my uncle and his diet. He fought till he was 38 years old, which was unheard of in the 60s. And still stayed basically at the same weight. Now that's incredible. That means you got to be putting in a lot of work. But basically the relationship was just boxing. I was really other places. And he trained a lot of these guys that are known through St. Louis. Their first couple of fights, Darryl Thigpen, the Finger Twins, name a few. And a lot of knowledge. And we would talk about it. So I got a lot of some of my insight from him in doing what I'm doing.
After building up an amateur record, Wayne enlisted in the Army as an infantryman, but his primary goal was still sport.
Well, I was an infantryman, but I basically went in to box. And, basically the way the boxing teams go in the Army, you have to fight your way on the team. You don't just get on because you want to be on there. And when I first got there, they just wanted to keep me in the uniform, so you basically had to prove yourself. So I would train every day. Get through, you get up at 6 in the morning, and 5 in the morning, take that back, and we work, get off, and I would just go train, run around the post, spawn with my fellow soldiers. And so by the time they let me go to try out, I was already ready. I already had close to 80, 90 fights, before I went in there. And thing about it was I came in the door looking behind, as they say, and they thought I was just new, you know. And my first 5 fights were knockouts when I first. Basically, they didn't recognize my St. Louis fights. You know, they basically took me as a novice fighter, and you know, I just had to go with it. And my first fight, I had the record of knockouts my first month.
Was it an atmosphere of, say, before the Army in St. Louis, you were the big fish in a small pond, and like that's what you did over there, and
Right.
now you got to prove yourself again over here in the service.
Right. Now St. Louis, it was so many good fighters. I mean, everybody was outstanding back in the 70s and 80s. You know, St. Louis is one of the only city I know of that fought the country. You know, if we fought England, it would be whoever was ranked from Philly or one of the other cities, New York. But St. Louis always had somebody ranked in every single weight class, and that was just unheard of.
Yeah.
But we just had a solid team back in the 70s.
Wayne would continue to develop an intense self-belief that would lead him to challenge his Army boxing coach, even taking over the role himself, before moving on to the professional ranks. The warrior state of mind helped Wayne through something he didn't see coming. His pro career was cut short after just 1 win. He had been hit by a car, something he would experience twice more in addition to a later cancer diagnosis.
Easy work, as they say. It was just, he had about 5 fights, maybe a 3-2 record, something like that, 4-1, either or. And it's an easy fight. One thing, I was always conditioned. I learned that wrong. I started running with a cross-country runner. He could box a little bit, but he was strong. And we ran up in the mountains one day, and he left me. I couldn't see that with the back of his feet, way down the road. And maybe 3 or 4 days later, I was able to keep on moving. And I always thank him for that. You know, teaching me that extra, gave me an extra win, as they say. And from then on, you know, condition was never a problem. So I was able to it was just easy. He never really touched me. I always try to, after the Army, I like to say I'm more of a boxer. Like I said, before I went in, I was just knocking folks out, so I had that mentality.
Right, but then you learned defense, or you refined it.
Right, I didn't need a defense. My street fighters have a different mindset. We just go and, you know, strictly wolf. You know, even through the storm, we keep coming because it's the mentality. I have to give him credit. Edel Torres was one of our teammates. When I first saw him, short fighters, no other short fighters. I'm like, wow, I'm looking at him. And I realized that this guy's sharp. So as we got later on down the line, got to sparring, or start to spar, I couldn't hit him. I couldn't touch him for like 3 sparring. I couldn't touch him. And he made me realize I'm not a boxer, I'm a fighter. I can't box a lick, I can fight. And I realized I had to learn how to box, learn how to anticipate, I had to learn how to watch. And I started to learn how to know what he was doing before he went there. And I was able to start catching him. And after about 2 or 3 of them, he told Coach, you know, I don't want to spar with him anymore. And he was 6-time Puerto Rican champ. But he was so smooth, it was wow. So a lot of that, he made me understand the art of boxing. You know, where I could stand in front of you and not get hit. You know, like I said, you want to look like a boxer, style-wise, but you look at your face, you don't want to look like a boxer. So that was my goal. I wanted to take it to that next level.
How did it affect you not being able to take things to the next level with, you know, only the one fight before the incident?
I learned to, say once I went to New York, I got hit twice. Now, when I got hit here, I was in a car. I was 18 years. When I got to New York, I was on the sidewalk. And one was a car, I was on a bike, and one was like me in the car. You know, I was drugged up under the car for about 6 feet. So even there was a blessing because my wife was supposed to be with me. And she was moving so slow. I said, well, I'm just going downtown. And the blessing was the lady next to me, which probably would have been my wife. She got hit and drugged up on the car, and I got hit. It was like 6 people. But me and her were the only ones that were up under the car. She was bleeding from the head. I had a little blood up there. But the thing about it, At the time, my wife was 9 months pregnant. So if she had been out there, it would have been a disaster. And to the point where I couldn't get out of the same situation almost. I couldn't get out in and out the bed by myself. She had to get a towel and so lift me up so I could go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And it was rough. But being in after that, kind of getting myself together, I started working. I had to get something back. And I started working on my oldest boy. He's about 3 at the time. I started working at the shelters, working with the kids up there, and it was my motivation. It had to give back.
Did you instantly kind of come to that? Like, okay, it's over, and like, I still want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of this for as long as I can be, the rest of my life, whatever. Or did you have to go home and lick your wounds a little bit?
It's almost like a fight. You take it round by round. Whatever was presented for me, And sometimes you just, like I say, I was always, I teach to prepare for a fight. You can't kind of like step by step. It ain't like a dance. You can't really choreograph a fight because anything could happen. So you work within the realm of reality, which is right now. Just like life. You look at the past for lessons and prepare yourself in the present for the future. So in boxing, it's moment by moment. So when that happened, I just had first thing I had to do was recover, And, like I said, recover from one, here come the next one. But in between, just start working with the kids, just to keep that fire going. And with the shelter, and then you start to learn that through boxing, just like right now, you can help others with your gift. And I worked with some of the kids, like I say, in the shelter. And one incident, because I wasn't getting paid, I was volunteering, but I really did get paid. It just wasn't money. I had a little young man who had, I guess, a trick they call it in his neck. And I trained him, he worked hard, And one day his parents came to me and said, Mr. Johnson, Coach, we just wanted to say thanks. And I'm looking, I said, for what? Just I was doing. He said, no, but he said, our son, he's got the trick on his neck. And this little boy would follow him up and down the hall every day, trying his best to pull it off. And he was determined to do it. And they were afraid because they knew if he pulled it off, he could possibly die. He said, but he come home, come to the room every night, do everything you told him to do, exercise-wise. I would always give him homework. And he said, one day, was the day before, the little boy tried to grab him. He said he whooped that little boy from one end of wherever it was, the third floor to the other. And he said that little boy follows him around like a little puppy now. But the fact I was able to give him that something, to fight back, that was my payment back. And just being able to give back to that little boy and the parents and just put the bully in his place in this instance.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was just, it's them little instances. You get paid in a million one ways. I see guys now that still call me. They have kids, they call me, hey, coach. And, I could hear the pride in their voice. And I know I was an example to them just seeing me and my son, who basically just celebrated his birthday May 2nd. Who was named after his uncle, Don, whose birthday's in May, and also mine. Don was one of my best and my first student, other than my oldest son, that helped put together Universal Soldiers Boxing Club. And had an accident October 2015. He was out of town working, and it was passed on us. And during that period, that spirit, as a spiritual man, we look at our ancestors, and that's anybody who's left before you. And he basically turned out being my ancestor because he left before me. And I used that strength to get through that. He was also with me spiritually. It was just, it's hard to explain it, but I feel it. So that's that, and he was a top fighter, and me also. And it's almost like we merged.
Yeah.
And
became one kind of a thing.
Right. I feel his life in me. It's like when you get a heart transplant and people say they feel that other person's heart, they see this other person's ideas and feelings and something similar. I think around the 12th of last year, I was on my way to the hospital. Just had a wound and didn't understand what it was. Wanted to get it checked out, and they had diagnosed me with cancer. That was almost, they say, a year almost to the day. And now I'm cancer free. I'm back in the gym, working out, back to training, feel good. You know, I still go back to the hospital, check yourself out. But in general, I'm good. I knew something was wrong because it took them a week. They said, well, we're going to do a biopsy and we'll let you know something in a couple of days. So a couple of days went past, and a couple of more days. I'm like, whoa, it's been a week. And so I know something was coming that wasn't, you know, because you said 24 hours, here's a week later. So, and I still remember that moment of them coming in. And it's like it wouldn't surprise. I think it should have been something because it took so long.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And I just dealt with it. And at the time I'd come up, I signed myself out because it was, you know, one thing they do, there's a lot of pressure. You know, everybody I've known, especially survivors, they pressure you to rush into doing everything right here, right now. And it's something each and every person should think about. You know, you should definitely think, because, you know, it's a million and one ways other than, look at other alternatives, put it like that. Everybody gets pressure. I mean, it's like, it's so consistent. It's not normal. Everybody's not turning, but everybody's can't come at you like that. So I think some of it's obviously financial. That I know for a fact. You know, I'm $1 million man now. In less than a year, and probably made about $1 million off my body.
Yeah.
So, and it's, you know, I've got a lot of stories. You know, I can tell. You know, take me forever of other people. So you go to you go to the winners, and you know, you can't have one fits all for everybody,
Right.
You know, because I know a lot of people went through what I went through and they're not here.
Even though his career ended well before its time, Wayne is still just as infatuated with the sport, and to him, the future is promising. Where did things go wrong, and how did they get better?
I think they're getting better. For the fighters, you know, most fighters always end up broke and never had that business side of it. They just fought for the love. Now they're getting more astute, some of them. Whereas, and speaking of my own father, I wish I could find this book. He was way ahead of his time. He wrote a book back in the 80s of how to manage yourself. That's a situation that happened to him, you know. And they're just a little smaller, you know, wiser, and it's just different now. It's we didn't have access. Like I say, back in the day, to get boxing news would take a month. You had to wait for the magazine. Now you can get boxing almost instantaneously. You know, internet, cable. You know, it's right there. And we have a lot of. Speaking of, we got a lot of boxing sites now, where the information, a lot of fighters are plugged straight into the internet. You know, you gotta do some homework, study, research on your own, and always try to base things on right now what it is, basically what I call it. And like a lot of times, you know, everybody has their debates, you know, the barbershop talk about the fight coming up. I always base everything, I try to be scientific. You know, you could be my father, I could say, Pops, you're not going to beat so-and-so because you just can't beat him. You know, so I try to, when I'm judging fights, you know, I look at it realistic. And when I'm dealing with a fighter, I'm trying to groom my fighter. He's tall, you're going to have to get up under. You know, you're going to have to get inside. You know, he's a southpaw, you're going to have to move this way or that. It's you know, boxing is just I love it because it's so much to it. I'm constantly learning. And see, in my 60s, I'm still learning every single day about the sport that I've been in since I was 12.
Yeah.
You know, it's never ending. It's something you can do forever. Like I said, my oldest students were in their 70s, you know? So they're learning. As a matter of fact, when you say boxing helping people, you can go online, they got people with autism.
My cousin's autistic.
And boxing's helping them. And I had a guy here that was like that. He could never stay on the bag. It was hard to deal with him because he would drift. And parents would constantly bring him, start doing little personals here. And all of a sudden I come in, hey, Wayne, how you doing? It's like, it was just so wow, 180 the whole other direction.
Part of the reason he still loves boxing so much is because of what he's doing now with Title Boxing Club Rock Hill, working with a variety of personal training clients, from the elderly to the differently abled, to show that everyone has something to fight for.
Parkinson's patients. Also, it helps with the tremors. It makes them focus. I usually switch them to the other side, whichever side they may have the most severe tremors. I switch them to that side. If you orthodox, switch them southpaw, so it's up front.
Doesn't that feel kind of ironic to you? Because I mean, the primary example everyone goes to is look at Ali. You know,
and then everybody said that, but they said Ali had something else. They would say Parkinson, but you know, they said a lot of times, they say he was doing a decon commercial. I heard that, and they tried to put it and call it the Muhammad Ali disease. I read that someplace. It was based on him. I think he got sprayed, and he had the shakes like it also. But it does. They have several. As a matter of fact, I think they got one in St. Charles. But I know they have two in Texas, one in Indiana somewhere, Ohio. And it was found out accidentally. The guy started, he was going through change, seeing his friend pass, and he just started working with the mist, and all of a sudden, and now they have a gym with everybody in there, at least 60-something plus, and everybody's got Parkinson's.
Everyone has Parkinson's?
Everyone. They have many gyms. I know at least 4 persons around the country, and they have one in St. Charles, but I think they do a little bit of everybody. But it helps to focus. It's a discipline. And when you put the diet and the building of the spirit with that together, you build a whole new human being, as they say.
Right. So you end up here at Title Boxing Club Rock Hill. How do you think your story and your comeback can impact some of the members here, some of your personal training clients, given that that's what you're doing now?
Right. Well, I have my class members also. I just happened to have a switching class, which was Saturday afternoon, was my regular class before I left. Somebody else has a slot now. But just to see my old people who they heard I was back but hadn't seen me. And I mean, I got so many hugs, I was out of breath. I really say they hugged the life out of me, but they hugged life into me. And they were the support system. People. These are the people I worked with every day before the situation happened. They supported me before, during, and after. And it's been this last year has been a journey, put it like that, practically up to this day, a year later. And it's people. That's the one thing you can't live without. It'd be hell being by yourself. But it's like in boxing, even though it's an individual sport, it's a team sport.
Yeah. It takes a village.
Yeah, and then it helps motivate you. When you feel you got that teammate there. Same thing here. I just listen to the stories and people say, this really helps me at work. Different kinds of work. And I think it should be a national sport because it teaches that person to feel itself, almost like martial arts. So you know your body. You know how to eat, how to think, how to overcome. Because that's the beginning, just to overcome situations or circumstances and having the strength. And as a fighter, you realize wow, okay, I got this in me. And that's the confidence builders. I've seen some of the guys that are 2 inches tall, now you look at them, they 10 foot tall, spiritually. You know that you can accomplish. And that you can be better than what you were. Spiritually, it's a spiritual, physical, and mental thing. It's the whole person. That's why when I was starting my own boxing team with the neighborhood kids and my sons, we named them Universal Soldiers. We dealt with everybody. We went to different gyms because we really started off outside, so we were everywhere at one time. And that's how I wanted them to have that mindset all the way around, regardless. Their thinking, training. I always train a little different from most people, but hopefully I'm an example that it works. 3 different individuals that knew my situation and were going through it. Some knew me personally, and some, referred people to me. But all 3 of them are doing well. One was laying there almost in the bed. His sons had told me they came to the gym. I was training at Page. I eventually ended up training my sons. And saying how he was just out of it. And so I reached out, touched bases with her. This is what you're going to have to do. You have to start eating this way. You have to start adding this to the diet. You have to get rid of that. And just got him a good, basically plant-based. As we say in the bit, his God by that. Anything that grows on the earth is good for, not anything, but, the proper plants, vegetables. That's what the body runs off of. I mean, you can run off different things, but the best food is plants, anything that goes out the ground, from the sun. I always say earth, wind, and fire, and oxygen, water, them basics, because that's what we're basically built from. And once you get that natural body back, I feel so much. I will be 61 in, as a matter of fact, 10 days.
10 days.
I feel outstanding compared, to. I see a lot of friends of mine who just at the same age and stage,
Yeah.
And boxing is best me to stay young and youthful, mentally and physically, and spiritually all the way around.
If you would like to begin personal training with Wayne, visit the Rock Hill location at 9494 Manchester Road. That's 9494 Manchester Road in Rock Hill, Missouri, or call 314-925-1523. 314-925-1523. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of the podcast. For The Punch, Title Boxing Club Rock Hill, and the International Mixed Martial Arts Federation, I'm Dane McGuire. See you next time. Check this out, fight fans. If you're new to Title Boxing Club Rock Hill and a veteran or active duty military member, you can box for free for the entire month of May. You must show your military ID.